Oh, we're live now on Instagram and we're live now on Facebook. We're live everywhere. Let me set up my phone per usual. Like that. Cool. You like that? Yeah, that looks good. Oh, yes, I want to tag Braden Burton in this video. Tagged. Isn't it weird how Facebook knows that like you're in that stuff? I don't know.
It's only be more AI.
Face recognition, it's kind of weird. Anyway, hi guys. Welcome. So today in my news feed, it popped up that it has been 1 year since Braden and I went to Date with Destiny, which is a Tony Robbins event in Florida right now. So they're probably having their check-in right now, don't you think? Is that Tuesday is check-in day? So they're probably having check-in right now. And then, yeah, it starts tomorrow. So Date with Destiny, for those of you guys that don't know, is a 6-day program that Tony Robbins runs. And so when I went, I had no clue. Hey, Hazel. I had no clue what I was getting myself into. I had, at that point, never even read a personal development book. I just had no clue. So Braden started with Business Mastery in, what was that, August?
I think March or April, maybe?
No. It was August 20th, 2016.
Yeah, I know that date.
Actually, I can tell you exactly the date now that I think about it. So I had been planning this event called the Blue Mesa Beach Bash that I run. And 2 weeks before the Beach Bash, Braden was like, I have this opportunity to go to this Tony Robbins Business Mastery event. And I think it's going to be really, really important that I go. What do you think, Courtney? And I was like, if you miss the Blue Mesa Beach Bash, I will murder you or divorce you. I don't know which one comes first. But we're still married and he's still alive. So he went to the Business Mastery. So that's kind of like where it all started.
Yeah. So I learned a ton about business at that event. And then there's the video on Netflix, like I'm Not Your Guru, whatever, the Tony Robbins thing, that kind of talks about the Date with Destiny. So Courtney and I watched that, and it's kind of like just figuring out what you want to do with your life or whatever. But there's a guy that went there, and Tony helped him figure out that he didn't want to be with his girlfriend, wife anymore. So made him call him and break up with him. So Courtney was like, you're not going to this event unless I go.
Yeah.
Pretty much for that reason. That's how Courtney got roped into going to the event.
That's literally how I got roped in. Braden's like, yeah, I'm going to go to this event with one of my buddies. You want to see the movie about it so you can see what it's all about? And I was like, yeah, whatever. That stuff is lame. Personal development is lame. I'm not broken. I don't need help. And I watched this movie, and in the movie, the man is like, or it was a woman, right? That stands up. There's this woman that stands up and like calls her boyfriend or husband at the time and is like, you know what? I have a new life now, and it's changed so much. Hazel, it's a movie called I'm Not Your Guru, and it's on Netflix, and it's all about Date with Destiny, which is an event that's happening right now, or it starts tomorrow in Florida. And so, anyway, this part of this movie, I'm watching this, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, you've got to be shitting me. Like, you're going to go to this event, and I already know, because I saw you go to Business Mastery, and I saw you, like, come back, and he was just so motivated when he came back. He was like, oh, like, just, like, had all this motivation, and so it was crazy. So I'm like, no, you're not going to Date with Destiny. I'm not the person that's going to get the phone call from Date with Destiny being like, Courtney, sorry, this is over. I'm divorcing you. So that's how I ended up going. Yeah. And we happened to be, at this time, we were living in our camper and traveling around, and we just happened to be in Florida, like, which is random. We were in Jacksonville, Florida, and it was a week before the event.
Yeah.
And one of Braden's buddies goes to Tony Robbins stuff. That's how he got to go to Business Mastery, and called us and was like, hey, I can get you guys 2 tickets to Date with Destiny if you want to go. And then Braden told me the price. And then I was like, you've got to be shitting me. I'm not spending that much money. Do you know how many bathing suits I can buy with that amount of money? And also, I'm going to South Florida, and I'm sitting inside for like 6 days. That was the other thing.
It was really, no, I think, did it rain or was it nice out?
It rained the whole time. It rained a little bit, but it wasn't very nice out. It was, so that made, like, God was like, haha, Courtney, you're in South Florida and it's not very nice out. So, anyway, we ended up going. And it totally has transformed, changed kind of the trajectory of my life for sure, and definitely Braden's too, which is pretty insane to think about. That picture that I shared earlier today on Facebook and Instagram that Braden took of me throwing that shaka up in front of that Date with Destiny bus, I didn't want to go. Like, I didn't want to post that picture. Like, I was embarrassed to post that picture because I thought that people were going to think, isn't it so funny? Because I was worried. What's up, Alex? I was worried about what people were going to think if they saw that picture. And now do you see the shit I post? Do you think I care what people think anymore? And that's kind of one of the things that has happened because of this Date with Destiny.
Yeah. We definitely concern ourselves with what other people think. As we left our camper and drove down to this event every day.
Yeah,
and,
we were staying in the camper.
Yeah, that's cool.
So anyway, we just kind of want to do like a quick, just a little bit review, just because we thought it'd be fun. And if you guys have any questions about Date with Destiny, you are welcome to ask us as well, and we'll answer them as we go along. So we're going to tell just a couple stories about our personal experience there. We have our Date with Destiny books right here. We're ready to go and answer all your questions. So day one was all about like introduction to everything. It was about the science of achievement, the art of fulfillment, your human needs, your basic human needs, and how your blueprint defines your life. And at that point, my blueprint was really small. At that point, my blueprint was, and this is nothing wrong with it, but my blueprint at that time was living in a camper, which I was doing. So I was like, dude, I'm fulfilled. I'm good. I really don't need this, Braden. Like, why are we here? I already have my blueprint. I already live in my camper. I don't need anything different.
Short-term thinking.
Very short-term thinking. I was not thinking anything further than that. I'm going to go into my little book. Would you have anything to say about day one?
I just think just getting to the event was even hard for us, but
like sweating.
One thing that made it clear was like how much people spend on college, and then college doesn't really get people what they need. I think it stresses like achievement, but not really fulfillment. And so this event, like for what it cost for us to go, is much cheaper than college, but what the content we got out of it
still a lot of bikinis.
Was just like, I don't know, answered some of those questions I think a lot of people have. Like, how do you stop worrying about what people think, and just what are you want to do with your life, and how do you make it happen, you know?
For me, it answered a lot of those questions about what I actually want to do. I know, right, Dee? Yeah, this is, here, Braden, scoot off the side. This is our background. We have wood on the porch and mountains out the back. Okay, Life Design, something's working. Y'all should keep on watching because we're doing something right. Day one for me, emotionally, though, was really, really interesting because I still didn't want to be there. Like, day one, I was there physically, but I was kind of like this.
Yeah.
I was stink-eyeing everybody. Because I just didn't really think that there was a purpose for me to be there. And I think that that was just me being really, really, really close-minded about my own life. And just being short-sighted and having these limits on what I could think actually was possible. Like, I just didn't really think anything that was possible could actually happen. I don't know. I was just still very short-sighted.
You were programmed by your story.
I was programmed by my story.
Your life was how it was supposed to be.
Yep, which is day two.
Good.
Which is day two. So day one was all about just kind of like an intro and learning about the science of achievement and the art of fulfillment in life. And then also learning about the 6 basic human needs, which are love and connection, certainty, uncertainty, significance, and then 2, growth, and then contribution and legacy. So there's
Legacy's
like
not one of them, just growth and contribution.
Okay.
But you got 6 there, yeah.
I got 6 of them. I got them. But he does speak a lot about leaving your legacy.
Yeah, for sure. What do you want to be known for? I don't know. I read a book the other day. It was like, if you died today, what would you be known for? What would you want to be known for? And then are those two things kind of like the same?
Okay, and here's the crazy thing. When I met Braden Burton, the man had, how many books have you read?
0.
Since high school. And reading is like my favorite pastime. And how many books have you read this year?
40 something books.
Dude, life will never be the same again. That's what Tony Robbins says the whole time. So day 2, we go over power virtues, incantations, we speak what we wish to become, and we find out what our primary question is that rules our current life. Right?
Yeah. Everybody's got a question behind everything you do in your life.
Do you remember your old primary question? I want to see if I can find mine.
It was something to the nature of like, how will this benefit me?
Yeah, I want to see if I can find mine. I should, primary question. Mine was something like, if I do this, will people like me? It was something like that. Oh yeah, literally, my primary focus in life. What do people think of me and do they like me? Literally, that ran my life. Like almost every decision that I made was kind of revolved around that.
So I think the big thing is to just switch like, well, how do you talk about yourself? Do you talk good about yourself or bad about yourself? And that kind of can create your reality for sure. So you start talking about yourself in a positive nature. And that was something that changed within me for sure. It was having a little bit more positive output on myself, which changes a lot. And
so day 2 and day 2, 3, and 4, I know this is going to sound really shitty, but it's kind of a total beatdown. Like in my opinion, because it's like, we don't do our new values and our new rules and our new primary question until day 5. So literally it's just digging all this shit up for like 3 days. Day 2, I was like only one arm crossed. I had one arm uncrossed at this point. I was like, kind of like, maybe I can get something out of this program. I don't really know. And so I had one arm crossed at that point. So my old primary question was pretty shitty. But that was what it was, right? And so it's funny, it has it comes with like this workbook, right? So as you go along, you fill this stuff out. And so in order to come to a new primary question, like the needs that I was trying to fulfill through my old question was love, significance, and contribution, because I was trying to contribute to life somehow. I wanted people to like me. And so my new question, I needed a new question that would make me sparkle, is what I wrote. Mm-hmm. And then we also went over incantations. And so he has you choose like 4 things to say, and you're supposed to say these things every single day. Do you remember your 4 incantations? I remember.
Yeah, I do, but it's more just like I said, just stating stuff in a positive way, or figuring out like what type of person you want to be, instead of like resorting to fear or stressful thoughts. Or we all have like that emotion that we default to, and for a lot of people it's a bad emotion, so switching that to something that could be good.
Yeah, and I think it's just a theory.
Like, I am grateful, you know?
Yeah.
And then that just perpetuates gratuity.
And I think it's just a theory that like what you say to yourself every single day, you become. So if you look in the mirror, so it's just like my hey baby posts that I do when I'm like, I look in the mirror and I say, hey baby, you look good today. It's because I say that stuff to myself because it makes me feel good. If I look in the mirror every single day and say, ugh, Courtney, you have a big nose, every single day, that's all I'm going to think about. That's all I'm going to think about are those negative things. And so it's really just having 4 incantations that like that envelop like everything, that envelop all the aspects of your life. Mine were like, and it's just like, I am. You say I am and then a word, and you just say it every day. And mine are, I am bold, I am passionate, I am love, and I am determined. And so every day I'm like, I say that stuff. And that's who you become, is because that's what you say to yourself.
Yeah.
And so now both arms are kind of unfolded. And I'm no longer like this stink iron. Day 3 is when we determine values and rules.
Yeah, so for me, I made it super easy to get overwhelmed. Like if I had a couple things on my plate or couldn't, I don't know, was juggling a couple things, I get overwhelmed super quick. So that became a default to like easily become overwhelmed. And we make it hard for ourselves to feel good. So like for me to be, I don't know, happy's a funny one, but to feel successful, you know, what are your rules to feel successful? We make it really hard to where like I have to have this much money in the bank and I have to have this going on and 10 properties and this to feel successful. Well, what are the likelihood I'm going to feel that success today? Pretty slim to none.
Yeah, we don't have $1 million.
I feel successful if I take action on something, then you know, I can make it easier for me to feel good and harder for me to feel overwhelmed, stressed, whatever. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah, so he gives you like a list of words, and you want to create. And so this is still day 3, guys. So this is still like determining like what you're operating on right now. And then day 5, you determine what you're operating on like for your future. And so, you know, it's kind of shitty, but like my present, like, so my towards values were freedom, love, happiness, being noticed, security, adventure, safety. And then my away values, the things I was trying to move away from every day, were stress, fear, and literally my fear is not being safe and getting murdered. Like that's what I have written down. My old fears were insane, but it's crazy when you like start really like digging in and figuring out like what runs you every single day. Guilt, thinking about my past mistakes, anxiety, rejection, and loneliness. It's crazy. It's just crazy. So we determine these values and rules and we figure out what makes us go towards them and why. Does that make any sense? Am I making any sense?
A little bit.
Day 4 is relationship day. Put on the waterproof mascara, ladies, because it's on. Day 4 was intense. It was all about why relationships work, why relationships don't work. And this was a day for me that I was so thankful that Braden and I were there together, because there were so many people there that were just there with like, just like they were just there and their wife was at home, or just the wife was there and their husband was at home. And like you're learning all these things. And just as I am saying this to you, how difficult is it to actually like go through an experience like this and then describe it to somebody? It's like almost impossible.
Pretty much, yeah.
So I'm so thankful that...
But the key takeaway is women are a different species. Don't try to understand them, because you can't.
No, and don't try to fix our problems, men. Just listen. Every time I have a problem and I go to Braden and I'm like, this happened, and he immediately gets into man mode where he wants to fix all my problems. And I'm like, I don't want you to fix this problem. This is just a time for you to listen. Every once in a while I want him to fix the problem, but I usually preface it with, please don't try to fix my problem and just listen to me. And that's been a big game changer, I think.
Yeah.
Day 5 is transformation day, and we go through our new values, our new rules. We determine what our new life is going to be, and shit is insane. And by this point, my arms are unfolded, they are in the air, and I'm dancing like a crazy person. Right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Like I was a psycho. And so we created all the new rules for our life and like how we're going to go forward from this day forward. And then day 6 is integration day. And we learn the tools to take what we just learned and apply it to our new life. So here we are, guys, 1 year later from Date with Destiny. And what have we actually applied in our life from what we learned? What haven't we? You know, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. I feel like since Date with Destiny, my life has completely flipped. My primary question is not the same. My towards values are not the same.
Yeah, I think you rewire your habits and what you value, if you make it easy for you to feel good, you don't stick in fear. So like there was a cool car at the event, right? And I was like, I'd like to ride in that car one day, you know? And so we left the event, I think it was the last day, and the car drives by us on the highway.
2 in the morning.
Right?
2 in the morning.
2 in the morning.
These days are freaking long.
And we come up and it's just dead stop traffic in the middle of the highway. And our gas was pretty low. And I'm like, I think we might run out of gas. So instead of being consumed with fear and letting that control the situation, one thing is like, just be resourceful, figure something out. So this car pulls up behind us and I was like, I'm going to go ask him if I can just hop in and chat with him and maybe he'll give us a ride back if we need it or whatever. So I hop in this car and just chat with this dude for a while. And, because I didn't let the fear stop me, I was just like, took action, let's go, let's do it. Let me see what this dude's all about, if he would follow us. And of course he's like, yeah, sure. And that's like business and personal and whatever. Like most of the time people are willing to help. If you got a question, you just got to figure out what the question is and then get it answered, I think.
Yeah. So how do you think in our everyday life, like in the past year?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely don't default to fear or stress as much anymore. And I think a lot of that is just coming from just being grateful for what you have. Like especially today, man, if you can't be grateful for just like living in America, obviously like we live in a pretty sweet spot, but just having food and stuff like that, like there's a lot of stuff to be grateful for. So when you think about that first, it kind of shifts stuff and makes it easier for you to go about your day. So like
Chris Jansen, if you're watching, you remember day 1, day 2, and day 3 Courtney like this. I didn't want to hug anybody or high five anybody. I was angry. Sorry, yeah. Chris. I just saw that Chris was watching, so I wanted to pop in and say that.
So yeah, just making stuff happen, taking action.
I think
not caring what people think. If you guys can't tell, Courtney doesn't really give a shit what anybody thinks anymore.
Doesn't care.
And
it's so liberating.
Success has created all that, which is kind of cool.
It was like that for me was so liberating, especially because my old primary question was so freaking focused on that. I mean, literally my old primary question, if you got like once again, was what do people think of me and do they like me? And so think about how having that question control every decision. Like that's what like at my core. And I had that controlling every decision I made. Everything I put out there on social media, everything I said to people, how I interacted, every choice I made was kind of revolved around that primary question, which is pretty sickening. And so it was just crazy. It was just crazy to me. My new primary question that came out of it was, how can I share even more joy and happiness to others that I already radiate? Boom, sharing it with you. And that's why I started getting into social media and sharing it, because I want to share life and happiness and just how I feel with everybody. And so this is a platform for it, right? And as soon as I stopped letting my old primary question run my life, just shit happened. Like life happened. And that was another thing that people said, is that life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. So many people are like, oh, well, I can't do this because XYZ happened to me. Those, like, stop letting those things hold you back. They just, like, everything is happening for you constantly. Like, you always have to just be in the flow of things. And that was a big realization for me, too, was just kind of stepping out of the comfort zone and just being in the flow.
Yeah, the meaning that we give stuff creates the emotion behind it. So if we can shift the meaning of whatever happens, then we shift the emotion, and that changes everything.
Yeah. So in the past year, Braden and I are both now self-employed. We were kind of before. Braden had started his business. I had started CB Sup. Another big thing that we do at Date with Destiny is they do a goal setting workshop. And for me, I think that was probably the biggest game changer, was putting pen to paper and writing down goals, and then realizing that if you write down these goals, they'll actually happen. Because like I said, my original blueprint, guys, when I showed up to Date with Destiny, was I'm already living my best life. I'm living in a camper and traveling around the country. And that is a great life. Like, it was a freaking great life, but I didn't have anything planned after that. Like, my plan after that was just coming home and working in a restaurant again, probably, and just maybe trying to save money to go travel to another place, but not really making an impact or a difference on anything or anybody's life. Like, I wasn't focused on that at all. And so by setting these goals and really just removing this ceiling of limitation that I felt in my life was huge.
Yeah, I think...
like, you saw that.
Yeah. And then it's crazy because a lot of that stuff happened. Like, for me, I wanted to get some jumps built on a local track riding area that we have. And so I just made that the goal, and then all winter did it, and just submitted a grant for $130,000 from the state of Colorado to fund that project. So it's never like a matter of resources. It's just resourcefulness and persistence and making shit happen. And so when you outline your goals, you have a clearer target. I think a lot of people just lack clarity on what they want to do or what, where they want to be. So that, I think the big thing this program does is just close that gap, like where you are to where you want to be. And like, I think a lot of people, that's where they are, is like, how do I make that happen? How do I start a business? How do I, go on more vacations, whatever you want to do. And they get caught in the, see I say how a lot, they get caught in the how, and it's not the how. It's like you start with why first, and then the how just kind of comes about.
And it might sound like we're talking in a foreign language to you guys, but that's okay. Because it's our own foreign language. It's the Burton language. Because sometimes I feel like we're talking to people and they look at us like they're like all cross-eyed and stuff. And like, what are they? The how, the why, the limitations, the ceiling. And I'm like, oh God, we're being aliens, Braden. Try to act normal. Try to act normal. And I start squirming like a weirdo. But for real, for me, for so long, I had this ceiling of limitations. I had this thought of like, I went to college and I graduated with this degree, but then afterwards I didn't do anything with it. Like for 10 years, 11 years after I graduated from college, I waited tables. Like I didn't apply for any jobs because I was scared of failure, and I was scared that if I applied for a job and didn't get it, then I would be considered a failure. People wouldn't like me. Going back to my old primary question, I knew I was good at waiting tables and bartending, so that's what I did. And I just stopped myself from kind of creating what I wanted. Date with Destiny taught me that I could remove this ceiling of limits from myself, and it didn't matter anymore. Like, it just didn't matter. And so for me, legitimately at this point, like, since then, I've started my own online health and wellness business. We set financial goals for CB Sup, shameless plug, CB Sup, our paddleboard business. And literally, like almost to the dollar, we hit them.
Yeah. Which
was insane. We wrote it down and told Braden, I'm like, I don't know if that's a good goal or not. Like, well, if we don't hit it, then we'll be failures. Right? Old mindset going in. But literally, we hit it to the dollar. Everything. I wanted hair extensions. I freaking got them. Date with Destiny changed my life. So I think it's just really, what do you think that there are some things that we learned at Date with Destiny maybe that we haven't applied to our life? Is there anything in particular that you can think of? Like, I want to go back again. I want to go back for round 2. It's happening right now. So it's obviously not going to be this year, but maybe in a year or 2.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a lot of content for sure.
I mean, it's literally like a college workbook that you get, and it's pretty thick, and you have 6 days to complete all this and literally rip apart your old life and kind of transform into this new life. And so you're not going to get everything in the first time. One of the big lessons too that I learned, and I always think this story is hilarious and I like to tell it, so I'm going to tell it, is that I used to believe, like really believe in raffles and luck. Luck and like winning things or getting chosen for things. I always thought that luck had like everything to do with that. And we're at Date with Destiny and there's this raffle. Anyway, there's like a lot of raffles and they kept calling the name Courtney and everybody kept pushing me to the stage. It wasn't me. Anyway, I like at that point, it's funny because even now still in my little town, people are like, oh, it's Courtney. She's the queen of raffles because I used to win a lot of raffles. Like people still say that to me. And I'm like, I don't need raffles anymore. Like I create my own luck, or if I want something, I'm just going to earn it and buy it myself. I think that for me too was this huge takeaway that like, I don't need luck anymore in life. I don't need raffles. I am enough. I don't need these other things.
Yeah.
Don't you think? Do you have any other kind of big, like 1 year things that have happened?
I think one thing, it's just trying to translate some of this stuff is difficult, but I like chatting with people about it. So if you're open to it or want to talk about any of this stuff, just reach out, give me a shout. Be happy to, figure out what a question is that you can't figure out the answer to, and maybe move forward through that.
Yeah, Braden's better at it than I am. I'm just I just word vomit all over everybody about everything, if you can't tell. So yeah, I think in the year since Date with Destiny, our lives have dramatically changed. It has been a roller coaster because it's changed. I wouldn't say it's all, most of it's changed for the good, but with all good, there's some bad. Like it's been a lot of up and downs and, sometimes like when you remove limitations from yourself and you start thinking that you can, you start pushing each other to this point of like crazy accomplishment that can cause some stress. Because now, before when I didn't have any goals, old Courtney was fine. Girl didn't have any goals. Like it didn't matter, right? Like she was, I never felt a lot of stress in my life because I didn't really have anything to feel stressed out about.
Your blueprint was good. So a lot of people I talk to are like, man, I just want to feel happy. I just wish I was like happy all the time. And happiness is when your life conditions match your blueprint or like what you expect from life, So Courtney didn't expect shit from life, so she's happy as hell all the time because it was like, yeah, cool, we're gonna eat food and maybe go snowboard. Awesome, great day, But so if you have these high expectations of yourself and you're not matching them, that's where you struggle to feel happiness all the time. So if you can dial that in a little bit, you can just be happy all the time like Courtney.
But now I have, and then so that's like where all of a sudden for the first time in my life, I'm experiencing this feeling called stress and anxiety that I've never really felt before because those weren't things that like I had concern with in my life. But it's a good stress and anxiety. Like it's something that, it's a new thing, but it's something that I actually like because I know that I'm pushing for goals. Like I have goals now and I have expectations of myself when before my only expectation was, can you show up to your shift on time at the bar? Like that's a pretty easy expectation to meet, so my life was pretty sweet. And now it's like, I want to be able to, like, my goals and expectations for myself are just mine are sky high because I think I can do anything.
You just got to try and fail. Failure is a bruise, not a tattoo. So you got to just I don't know. That's what we've learned. It's funny. We bought this massive paddle board. It's called the Fiesta. You can put like 10 people on it. And Courtney was like, not getting it, not doing it. I was like, nah, we don't need that thing. And the Soul guys were like, dude, this is a killer board. You guys need to get it. And I was just finally like, let's try it. See how it goes. Worst case, we just get rid of it. And ended up working out really good. Like we rented all the time all summer and people loved it, So it's like, if you don't take the action and try, you don't know what's possible. And that's just like it's crazy as we like started the paddleboard business 3 years ago. Like that's what happened. It was like, let's buy 6 boards and see what happens. Let's try. And if we fail, then we sell some boards. And that's just kind of like, it applies to everything in life, And that's just, people get so caught up in the fear. I posted something the other day about it. of just like that holding you back from doing anything. So,
and it's like with my online wellness business, I was so scared to try, right? Because what if I tried and it didn't work out? What if I tried and I didn't succeed at it? Well, the worst case scenario is I would be in better fitness and health, but the best case scenario is that it works. Like legitimately, I was holding myself back from trying something because I was scared. And then I just stopped being scared. Like I stopped being scared of trying. And here I am now, like less than a year later. And it's what I do for work now. Like this is, I don't have to go into the bar. I don't have to worry about if I'm making my shift on time because I took a chance and didn't let that fear hold me back. And so I think that's really what we learned mainly is, you know, I took a chance on Date with Destiny. I did not want to go and I went, and luckily, Braden did not divorce me, which is awesome. He did not call me from the event and say, we are breaking up, because I was right there with him. He could have looked at me there and said, we're breaking up. But literally that was like, you know, that was a legitimate fear. And so I took a leap of faith and I went, and here I am 1 year later, business owner, multiple business owner, self-employed. I'm not saying that everybody that goes to Date with Destiny will have the same story, but for us, it was life-changing. And that was my first personal development anything I had ever gone to. First, I've never read a book before. I've never been to a seminar. I've never been to anything. And now I've been to 3. I have read countless personal development books, and we have our 4th lined up. We're going to Grant Cardone's GrowthCon 10X, February, where's the dates right there? February 22nd through 25th. If anybody wants to join us, come join the Burtons.
It's in Vegas.
It's in Vegas at GrowthCon, and grow with us. Why not? Who knows? Sky's the limit, guys. And that's really like anything, if you get anything out of this live video that we did, it's that growth, is that the sky, like
I would say don't be in the same place this time next year that you are right now.
that's a good one.
Yeah. So what do you got to do?
Set some goals for yourself. Write them down.
Because growth is one of the human needs.
This is let me grab my book. I'm doing this right now. This is like something I would literally have never done, and I've been embarrassed to let anybody know that I was doing 1 year ago. I'm doing a Living Your Best Year Ever journal and workshop.
I'm scared what she's going to do this year.
Are you scared or excited?
I don't know, both.
Both. So don't hold yourself back, guys. The sky's the limit. Woo! Let's go. If you have any questions, you can hit Braden or I up, and we are happy to answer any questions about our personal experience to do with Destiny or anything that we're doing right now or in the future or XYZ. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. We learned a lot. It definitely helped me break out of my limitations and my shell, which is exciting and scary for the world all at the same time.
Yeah.
It helped you, I don't know. You were already like on that trajectory. So I feel like it just kind of like guided you even more.
Yeah, I got it reeled in for sure. Got it, clarity on what I need to be doing in the short term and what the long term looks like. And yeah, I've always kind of been a goal setter. That's how I bought a house pretty young and all that. But that was like mapped out, like I'm doing this and eliminate the doubt. So like eliminate that 0.1% that like probably won't work out. I probably won't be able to buy this property. You know, I'm trying to buy another one right now, and it's like I have that little bit of doubt and I got to eliminate it so I can like push through and just make it happen.
Yeah.
So thanks for watching.
Bye, guys. I'm going to finish here first, and I'm going to finish here second. Thanks, guys.